For centuries, Earth had been silent. No messages, no signals, no contact. The galaxy moved on without them. In the great halls of the Galactic Council, leaders from hundreds of species met every year. They discussed trade, war, and peace. But Earth's seat always stayed empty. At first, people waited. They thought the humans would arrive late. Maybe they were busy. Maybe something delayed them. But after years turned into decades, and decades into centuries, everyone stopped expecting Earth to come back. Some said humans were extinct. Others believed they had destroyed themselves. A few whispered a different story. They said Earth chose silence. They said humans had a plan. Still, the galaxy grew comfortable without them. New powers rose. Old empires fell. The stars kept spinning. Then, one day, something changed. Deep in the black void of space, near the forgotten system of Sol, a signal appeared. It was small, weak, almost nothing. But it was real. It came from Earth's orbit. It was not a call for help. It was not a message of peace. It was just a simple tone. A heartbeat. Like a warning. At first, the signal was ignored. The outer scanners picked it up and logged it. No one paid attention. But when the signal repeated again and again, some people started to ask questions. Who sent this? What does it mean? Is Earth back? The Galactic Council held an emergency meeting. The delegates looked at each other with worry. If Earth is back, said the Kelter representative, we must know what they want. Maybe they are weak now, said the Tharun speaker. Maybe we can control them. But the oldest races, the ones who still remembered Earth's last wars, said nothing. They only watched. Because they knew what humans were. They knew the silence could be a weapon. The Council sent a small scout team to investigate. 3 ships. Light craft. Fast, stealthy, armed. They entered the Sol system carefully. They expected resistance. But nothing happened. No weapons. No defense. The planets were quiet. Earth was cold. They saw cities but no people. They saw lights, but no movement. The scout ships landed in different zones. One in New York. One in Moscow. One in Beijing. They found dust. They found silence. No signs of life. Maybe they really are gone, said the lead scout. Maybe we were wrong. They sent back reports to the Council. But before the transmissions reached their home worlds, the scout ships disappeared. No explosion. No battle. Just silence. The last message received was a simple line, "We are not alone." Then nothing. The Council panicked. They sent another team. Bigger. Stronger. But they too vanished. Now the whispers grew louder. Earth is dangerous. Earth is hiding something. Earth is watching us. Across the galaxy, people remembered old legends. They remembered how fast humans learned. They remembered how hard humans fought. They remembered how humans never surrendered. If they are back, said the elderly leader, we must be careful. We must not provoke them. But others wanted answers. The Zorak Empire demanded action. If they are alive, we will crush them before they become a threat. The Council was divided. No one agreed. Fear began to spread. Rumors filled the space lanes. Merchants changed routes. Pilots avoided the Sol system. Then something even stranger happened. In the middle of the Council's largest meeting hall, a hologram appeared. It was not invited. It was not expected. The image was simple. A dark space. A metal symbol. A human voice spoke only 2 words. We return. Then the hologram vanished. The message was clear. Earth was back. The Council was silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Every species in the galaxy felt the same thing. Fear. Because if Earth had truly returned after centuries of silence, they must have a reason. And if humans had prepared in silence, what had they built? What had they become? The galaxy was about to find out. And nothing would ever be the same again. The scouts who had vanished near Earth left only silence behind, and silence in the galaxy was dangerous. The Galactic Council argued day and night, each species trying to decide if Earth was a threat or just an empty ruin. Some races believed humans had long ago destroyed themselves, burned in their own wars, and the signals were only old machines repeating forgotten codes. Others said the disappearance of the scout ships was proof that Earth was hiding something deep underground. Finally, a second mission was approved, larger than before, with warships to protect the explorers. They entered the Sol system slowly, their scanners reaching out across the planets. Mars was empty, its old human colonies turned to dust. The gas giants floated in silence, only storms and winds. But Earth was different. From above, it looked alive. The oceans were still blue, the forests still green, and cities still stood, though no movement could be seen. The alien crews sent drones to investigate. They found tall buildings, empty streets, and rusting vehicles frozen in place. Yet something felt wrong. The scanners picked up power surges beneath the surface, but no machine could locate the source. It was as if the entire planet was wrapped in a cloak. The crews grew nervous. Some refused to land. But orders were orders, and the council demanded proof. Shuttles touched down in ruined cities. Teams of armored explorers marched into streets once full of human life. They expected ruins, but instead they found structures intact, preserved as though humans had left only yesterday. In one building, food sat on tables, untouched, not spoiled, as if time itself had been frozen. In another, books and screens displayed unreadable human codes, glowing faintly even after centuries. "This is impossible," one alien whispered. "No world stays preserved like this." The air was clean, too clean. The cities felt more like traps than ruins. Reports were sent back quickly, but every report ended with the same final words: "Something is watching us." Hours later, one by one, the teams went silent. First Moscow, then Beijing, then New York. Their signals stopped in mid-sentence, as if they had been cut off instantly. The warships above Earth tried to scan for weapons, but their systems jammed. Then strange readings appeared in orbit. Massive objects, hidden in the planet's shadow, began to move. At first, the alien captains thought they were asteroids or satellites. But then they saw the sharp lines, the metallic surfaces. They were ships. Gigantic ships. Silent. Motionless. Cloaked in darkness. The alien fleet turned their weapons to aim, but before they could lock on, the human ships disappeared. Not destroyed. Not cloaked. Just gone, as if space itself had swallowed them. The alien commander panicked and ordered a retreat. The fleet jumped out of the Sol system, fleeing faster than any war drills had trained them for. The council received only fragments of the data. Images of cities untouched by time. Buildings glowing with hidden energy. Shadows of warships in orbit. Then static. The mission was declared a failure. Fear spread once again. Some demanded the Sol system be sealed, no one allowed near it. Others argued Earth must be destroyed before it grew too strong. But no one could explain the greatest question: where were the humans? If they had left their cities, if they had abandoned their world, then who had preserved it? Who had built the massive ships? Theories spread like wildfire. Some claimed Earth was now controlled by machines, human-made constructs waiting for orders. Others said humans had gone underground, hiding in vast cities below the crust, waiting for the perfect moment to rise again. The oldest races, who had fought humans in ancient wars, shook their heads. They had seen this pattern before. They told quiet warnings: humans are never gone. They wait. And when they return with fury. In the shadows of the galaxy, smuggler crews whispered of strange encounters. Ships passing near Earth reported sudden malfunctions, as if unseen hands reached into their engines. A trader swore he saw a colossal vessel drifting in the asteroid belt, bigger than a city, its hull marked with human symbols. None of these reports were confirmed, but the fear was real. Every race remembered humanity's greatest strength: patience. No other species could endure silence for so long. No other species could vanish and then rise stronger than before. The Council tried to calm the galaxy, but even their strongest words felt weak. Everyone could feel it in their bones. Earth had not been forgotten. Earth had not been destroyed. Earth had been preparing. And soon, the galaxy would see what the forgotten world had become. Across the galaxy, the whispers grew louder. The Second Fleet had returned broken and terrified, with only fragments of data and stories that sounded more like nightmares than reports. They spoke of empty cities that were not dead, of power surges under the ground, and of warships that appeared and disappeared like shadows. They told of voices on comms, soft human voices that said nothing, only breathed. Many races refused to believe the reports. They said the scouts were hallucinating, that fear had made them see what was not real. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. Humanity was not gone. They were waiting. In the council chamber, arguments turned into shouting. The Zorak Empire wanted to invade, to burn Earth before it rose again. The Tharun wanted to blockade the Sol system, keeping humanity trapped inside. The Eldari, the oldest and wisest species, spoke only once, and their words froze the chamber into silence. If humans return, no wall will stop them. No fleet will survive them. We have seen them fight before. You have not. The newer empires laughed, but their laughter was thin and nervous. Stories of humans were legends, tales of soldiers who fought even when their bodies were broken, tales of fleets that built weapons from scraps and turned defeat into victory. The legends had been forgotten by most, but now they returned like ghosts in the night. Traders spoke in hushed voices about human signs in deep space. One said he saw a black ship with no lights glide past his freighter near the rim. Another swore a fleet of metal giants crossed a nebula, silent as death. None of these stories could be proven, but they spread fast, carried by fear. The galaxy began to change. Merchants altered their routes to avoid Sol. Pilots refused contracts that passed near Earth's system. Even pirates gave up raiding in that sector. It was as though a shadow had stretched across the stars, a shadow that whispered, "Do not go there." In the quiet of their ships, alien captains wondered, why had Earth been silent for centuries? Why wait so long? What could they possibly be planning? Some believed the humans were preparing revenge, a payback for centuries of being ignored, insulted, and erased from history. Others thought humans had discovered something darker, a technology beyond the Council's understanding. Theories grew wild. Maybe Earth had built weapons in secret. Maybe they had made alliances with unknown species. Maybe they had become something else entirely, no longer human. The Council called for another emergency session, but this time fear outweighed reason. No one trusted anyone. Some demanded an immediate strike, others begged for peace. In the middle of the chaos, a new message appeared. Not from Earth's surface. Not from a ship. From deep space, outside the Sol system. It was faint, but clear. A human voice, calm and cold, spoke 3 words: "Do not come." The council chamber froze. Every delegate looked at one another. Was it a warning? A threat? Or a promise? The message repeated 3 times, then vanished. No signal trace. No source. It was as if the galaxy itself had whispered it. From that moment, fear turned into terror. If humans could reach out from the shadows without being seen, how powerful had they become? The council tried to keep the message secret, but it spread in hours. Soldiers in the outer colonies refused to patrol near Sol. Civilian ships rerouted. Some planets even declared themselves neutral, terrified of being caught in the path of whatever was coming. But still the questions burned. If humans were back, where were they hiding? What were they building? Why had they remained silent for centuries? And most important of all, when would they act? In every corner of the galaxy, the whispers of fear grew into a storm. Something was coming, and everyone knew it would change the galaxy forever. The warnings had been ignored for too long, and now the first shadows had begun to move. The Sol system, once thought of as quiet and dead, was no longer empty. Merchant ships that drifted too close reported strange distortions, sudden bursts of static, and flashes of light that vanished as quickly as they appeared. Some swore they saw massive objects drifting near Jupiter, but when scans were sent, nothing was there. Others claimed they heard voices on their comms, whispers in human tongues that no translation program could explain. The Council wanted proof, and so they sent another observation fleet, this time larger and heavily armed, with the best technology the galaxy had to offer. They entered the system cautiously, shields raised, weapons ready. At first, everything was silent. The fleet spread out across the void, scanning the planets one by one. Mars remained lifeless, the gas giants untouched, the asteroid belt unremarkable. Earth still floated in silence, its cities whole but its skies empty. Yet as the ships orbited closer, strange signals began to appear. Energy readings unlike anything they had seen pulsed from the dark side of the planet, and massive shadows flickered against the stars. At first the aliens thought it was sensor error, but then the shapes grew clearer. They were not natural. They were not asteroids. They were ships, vast and motionless, hidden in the black. The alien commanders hesitated. No life signs. No signals. Just cold, silent giants hanging above the world. They decided to approach carefully. As they drew closer, the first ship revealed itself. Its hull was massive, darker than the void itself, sharp edges lined with strange symbols. It had no lights, no markings, nothing to show it was alive, yet it moved with purpose, drifting slowly as if to watch them. The fleet locked scanners on it, but every system failed. Their sensors could not read the size, the weapons, or even the material of the hull. It was as if the ship was invisible to machines, seen only by the naked eye. Fear spread quickly among the alien crews. "What are these things?" one captain whispered. Another muttered, "If these are human ships, we should not be here." Before they could retreat, more shadows appeared. 10, 20, then hundreds, each one sliding out of the black like predators circling prey. They made no sound, sent no signal, yet every alien aboard the fleet felt the same weight in their chest, the same dreadful truth: they were being hunted. One captain panicked and fired a warning shot, a beam of energy that struck the hull of a shadow ship. The blast disappeared against the armor, leaving no mark. Then, for the first time, the shadows moved. Slowly, deliberately, the massive warships shifted into position, surrounding the alien fleet. No weapons were fired, no words spoken. But the message was clear. The humans were there, and they were watching. The alien commander ordered a retreat at once. Engines roared as the fleet tried to escape the circle of giants, but as they fled, every system in their ships went dark. Lights flickered, engines failed, weapons powered down. They drifted helpless in the void, trapped like flies in a web. Then a sound filled the comms. It was not static. It was not distortion. It was a voice. A human voice. Calm. Cold. Dangerous. It said only 4 words. "You should not come." Then, as suddenly as it began, the power returned. The alien fleet regained control of their ships. Without hesitation, they fled the system, jumping back into hyperspace as fast as their engines would carry them. When they returned to the Council, they carried no data, no recordings. Every file was blank, erased as if nothing had happened. But the crews were pale, their eyes wide with terror. They refused to speak of what they had seen. Still, rumors spread. Thousands of shadow ships hidden above Earth. Weapons that could erase entire fleets. Humans alive and watching, waiting for the perfect time to reveal themselves. The galaxy trembled as the whispers grew. The shadows had shown themselves, and everyone knew what that meant. Humanity was no longer silent. Humanity was preparing. The galaxy had always feared the legends of humans, but until now those fears were whispers, shadows, and fragments. That changed the day the 1,000 warships appeared in orbit. It began with silence. The Sol system was quiet, as always, the same strange stillness that had driven explorers mad for centuries. Then the shadows that had circled Earth began to move. Slowly, carefully, as though the darkness itself was waking up. The first ships emerged from hiding, their colossal forms breaking through the black. Then more followed, each one sliding into orbit like a predator returning home. The fleets that had come to observe froze in shock. They had never seen ships like these. Each vessel was larger than a city, armored with black hulls that absorbed light, their edges sharp and alien yet unmistakably human. There were no markings of nations, no colors, no flags. They were not ships of governments or colonies. They were ships of Earth itself. One by one they took their places, circling the planet, forming a wall of steel and silence. And they did not stop. 100 appeared. Then 200. Then 5. When the count reached 1,000, the alien commanders realized the terrible truth. Earth had not been abandoned. Earth had been preparing. Panic filled the comm channels. Some captains shouted for retreat, others for an attack, but no one dared fire. The scanners tried desperately to read the warships, but every attempt failed. No engine readings. No weapon signatures. No life signs. It was as if the ships themselves refused to be understood. And yet the alien crews felt them. Felt the weight of their presence. It was not numbers alone that brought fear. It was the silence. 1,000 warships, yet not a single signal, not a single word. Just quiet, suffocating and absolute. Then, without warning, one ship moved. It was larger than the rest, its hull blacker than the void, its shape strange and angular, as if designed to frighten. It broke formation and drifted closer to the alien fleet. Every weapon in the sector locked onto it, but no one dared fire. The alien commander shouted for all ships to hold their ground. The human ship stopped just outside weapons range. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then lights flickered across its hull. Not the glowing lights of alien technology, but burning lines, symbols etched in ancient human languages. The words shifted, translated across dozens of tongues, until every species could read them. 3 words glowed bright against the void. We are back. The council ships fell into silence. Some crews prayed. Others wept. Even the bravest officers felt their hands tremble. Humanity had returned, not with words of peace, but with a silent wall of war. Then the fleet moved again. The 1,000 ships tightened their orbit, aligning perfectly around Earth, a cage of firepower that no empire could match. The alien scanners finally caught faint energy signatures, and what they found made them collapse in dread. Each ship carried enough power to erase a planet. Each one was stronger than an empire's fleet. And Earth had 1,000. Across the galaxy, the message spread like wildfire. The humans are back. Civilizations that had laughed at the idea of Earth's return now scrambled to prepare defenses. Empires that had once dismissed humanity now shook with fear. The legends had been true all along. Earth had not been destroyed. Earth had not been forgotten. Earth had been building in silence, waiting for this moment. In the council chamber, no one spoke. The image of the 1,000 warships hung above them, cold and unshakable. Every delegate understood the same thing. The balance of the galaxy had ended. Humanity had returned to the stars, and nothing would ever be the same again. The galaxy had never been so quiet. From the smallest outpost to the grandest empire, every mind was fixed on one image, 1,000 human warships circling Earth like silent guardians. No one spoke of trade or politics anymore. Every conversation ended with the same question: what do the humans want? For days, the warships remained motionless, their black hulls gleaming against the starlight, their silence heavier than any threat. Alien fleets kept their distance, watching carefully, afraid to move, afraid even to breathe. Then, without warning, the silence broke. A signal spread across the galaxy, not through channels, not through satellites, but everywhere at once. It did not ask for permission. It did not wait for translation. It was simply there, in every frequency, in every language, in every mind. A human voice spoke. Calm, cold, certain. We heard your meetings. We heard your words. We stayed silent. Now you will listen to us. The words cut through the void like a blade. Entire planets stopped what they were doing. Soldiers froze. Leaders went pale. No one had expected Earth to speak so directly, to reach them all at once. The voice continued. For centuries, you thought us gone. You told stories of our extinction. You sent spies to our world. You tried to measure us, to control us. We let you believe what you wished. Because silence was our shield. But silence is over. The message echoed across every world, and the fear grew sharper with every word. We are not weak. We are not lost. We are not yours to command. We are humanity. And from this day, you will remember us. On dozens of council worlds, riots broke out. Citizens screamed in panic. Governments tried to calm them, but the fear was too strong. The voice did not pause. You built your council without us. You made your laws without us. You decided the fate of galaxies without our voice. That ends now. You will hear our terms soon. You will obey them, or you will not survive them. Then the message fell silent. No demands were given. No explanation offered. Only the promise that the humans would speak again. The alien fleets orbiting near Sol panicked, unsure whether to retreat or stay. Some fled instantly, their commanders unwilling to risk being the first to test the warships. Others remained frozen in place, staring at the 1,000 ships in dread. The council called for an emergency session, but no one wanted to speak first. Delegates argued in whispers, their voices trembling, knowing that humanity had just declared itself not as a member of the galaxy, but as its judge. Across the stars, ancient races remembered the wars of the past, when human fleets had risen from nothing and torn empires apart with sheer willpower. Younger races struggled to believe that the same species had now returned with technology centuries beyond anything the galaxy had seen. And among all of them, one fear burned brighter than the rest. If this was humanity's first message after centuries of silence, what would their second be? The galaxy waited in silence after humanity's first message, but silence soon turned into fear, and fear turned into panic. No one knew what the humans would do next, and the unknown was more terrifying than war itself. Empires rushed to build defenses, fleets were called back to their home systems, and planets prepared for attacks that might never come. The council tried to hold order, but every delegate could feel it. The balance of power was gone. Then the waiting ended. In the Sol system, the 1,000 human warships moved for the first time in days. They did not speak, they did not warn, they simply acted. One ship broke formation and drifted toward the edge of the system, where an uninhabited moon orbited a gas giant. Alien fleets watching from a distance tightened their formations, thinking the humans would fire on them. Instead, the warship aligned with the moon. Its hull glowed faintly, energy building inside. For a moment, there was only silence, then a single beam of light erupted from the ship. It was not loud, not violent, not like the thunderous blasts the galaxy was used to. It was silent, clean, and absolute. The beam touched the moon, and in the space of a heartbeat, the moon shattered. Not cracked. Not broken. Shattered. Billions of tons of rock and ice disintegrated into dust, scattered into the void as though the moon had never existed. The alien fleets watching froze. Their scanners tried to record the event, but their systems overloaded and failed. No one could understand the energy output. No one could measure the weapon. One captain whispered, "That was a test shot." Another muttered, "One ship did that. One ship." Then the truth struck them all. Earth had 1,000. The human fleet did not speak, but the message was clear. No world, no fleet, no empire could stand against such power. The demonstration spread across the galaxy within hours. Every station, every planet, Every ship carried the same terrifying story. The humans had destroyed a moon with a single shot. Some races refused to believe it until they saw the images, the dust clouds still floating where a moon once was. Panic erupted everywhere. Empires that had boasted of strength now held emergency meetings in fear. Soldiers who once mocked the idea of humans now refused to speak their name. The council was in chaos. Delegates shouted over one another, some demanding war, others begging for surrender before demands were even made. The elderly stood and silenced them all with a single warning: do not mistake what you saw. That was not their weapon at full strength. That was only a message. The chamber went silent again. Because they all knew it was true. Humanity had not spoken since their first broadcast, but their ships had spoken for them. A single display of power had done what no empire could: bend the entire galaxy into fear. And yet, in the middle of that fear, a deeper question remained. If humanity had waited for centuries, if they had built such power in silence, what else were they hiding? And why had they chosen to return now? The galaxy trembled in silence after the moon was erased. Entire empires gathered their fleets closer to home, and the council no longer argued about whether humanity was back. Everyone knew it now. The question was not if the humans would speak again, but when and what they would say. The answer came without warning. Across every channel, every frequency, every translation system, the human voice returned. It was the same voice as before, calm and cold, but this time it carried weight like thunder. You have ignored us. You have spoken for the galaxy without us. That time is over. You will hear our demands. The chamber of the council froze as the message continued. First, the practice of slavery across the stars will end. No more chains, no more markets. Every world that trades in life will burn if it continues. Across the galaxy, empires built on slave labor panicked. Entire dynasties felt their foundations shake. The voice gave them no time to breathe. Second, the exploitation of weaker species will end. No more forced colonies, no more stolen planets. The strong will not prey on the weak. This is not a request. This is law. The room erupted with shouts as delegates protested, but their voices meant nothing against the calm words echoing through every star system. Third, Earth will take its seat in the council, not as a guest, not as a voice among many, but as a judge. Decisions will pass through us. Balance will be restored by us. The galaxy has lost its way. We will set it right. The voice paused for a long moment, then grew sharper. These are not negotiations. These are not choices. You will obey, or you will fall. Then the message ended, leaving the galaxy in chaos. Some cheered in secret, small worlds and weaker races that had suffered under the rule of empires. For them, humanity's demands sounded like salvation. But for the great powers, the message was a direct challenge. The Zorak Empire, built on slaves and conquest, declared the humans arrogant and swore they would never bow. The Tharun Syndicate whispered of alliances to resist Earth. The council chamber became a storm of fear and anger. Yet deep inside, no one could deny what they had seen. 1,000 warships circling Earth. A moon destroyed in a single shot. And a voice that spoke not as a beggar, not as an equal, but as a ruler. Across the stars, every empire was forced to ask itself a terrible question. Could they defy humanity's demands? And if they tried, would they survive the answer? The galaxy was divided. Some worlds welcomed Earth's demands in silence, whispering that at last someone strong enough had risen to stop the cruelty of empires. But others burned with pride and fear, unwilling to bow. At the center of the storm was the Zorak Empire, a brutal race that thrived on conquest and slaves. Their rulers called the humans weak pretenders, cowards hiding behind old legends. The Zorak High Council broadcast their defiance across every system. We do not obey Earth. We do not kneel. Their words are empty, and their ships will break like all others before us. The galaxy listened in shock. Few dared such open defiance, but the Zorak believed in their fleets, their armies, and their weapons. Soon, others joined them, the Tharoon Syndicate, rich with stolen trade routes, and fragments of smaller empires that feared losing power. They called themselves the Resistance, and promised to prove that humanity's 1,000 warships were not enough to rule the stars. They gathered their fleets in the Outer Rim, building a coalition that numbered in tens of thousands of ships. The council debated whether to stop them, but fear froze their hands. They waited, hoping the humans would hesitate. But humanity did not hesitate. They watched in silence, as if measuring how far the resistance would go. Spies and scouts reported human ships never moved, never broke formation, simply waiting in orbit of Earth like a wall of steel. That silence made the resistance nervous, so they acted first. Their combined fleet, enormous and glittering with weapons, entered a star system near the border of human space. They expected a reaction, but saw nothing. Days passed, and still the humans did not move. Some captains laughed, claiming the stories were lies, that Earth's power was nothing but fear. But deep inside, unease grew. Then, on the fourth day, the humans moved. Not with 1,000 ships. Not even with 100. Just 10. 10 ships slipped from Earth's orbit and crossed into the void. The Resistance fleet outnumbered them 100 to 1, and commanders mocked the move as arrogance. But those who had seen the moon destroyed whispered warnings. 10 ships were more than enough. When the fleets finally met, the void lit up with silence. No human voice spoke, no threats came. The 10 ships simply opened fire. What followed was not a battle. It was slaughter. Resistance cruisers burst apart under weapons they could not measure. Their shields collapsed in seconds, their armor melted away, their formations shattered before they could even fire properly. Human weapons tore through them with precision, as if every shot had been calculated years before. The Resistance commanders screamed orders, desperate to hold their lines, but nothing worked. In less than an hour, thousands of ships were gone, erased from the sky like dust before a storm. Survivors fled into hyperspace, leaving broken wrecks behind. The humans did not chase. They did not speak. The 10 ships simply returned to their formation, silent once more, as if nothing had happened. News of the massacre spread across the stars faster than light. Entire empires froze in terror. The Resistance was not destroyed, but it had been humiliated. 10 ships had broken their grand coalition, and the galaxy understood the message. Humanity had not even needed to use their full fleet. The Resistance called for more allies, but their words rang hollow now. Fear had taken root. Across every council chamber, every military command, one truth was spoken in whispers. If this was the power of 10 human ships, what would 1,000 do? The galaxy had changed forever. After the massacre of the Resistance, no empire dared to test Earth again. Fear spread faster than any fleet could travel, and every world understood the truth. The humans were no longer silent observers, they were rulers. Across council chambers and palaces, leaders whispered about survival. Should they fight and face destruction, or should they bend and live? Most chose to bend. One by one, emissaries sent messages to Earth, declaring loyalty and begging for terms. The 1,000 human warships, still parked in orbit around their homeworld, became a symbol of power that no one could deny. They never moved, never spoke, but everyone knew they were waiting, listening, watching. At last, Earth broke the silence. A broadcast spread across the stars, not in threats but in clear, steady words. There will be no more slavery. There will be no more wars of greed. The age of cruelty ends now. You will obey the order of Earth, or you will cease to exist. Simple words, yet they carried the weight of unstoppable force. Some tried to argue that humans had no right to dictate terms, but those voices quickly fell quiet when reminded of the Resistance's fate. Entire empires dismantled their war fleets, swearing loyalty. Trade syndicates that once thrived on corruption and smuggling were forced to open their routes to all. Even the mighty Zorak, broken and humiliated, sent envoys to Earth, bowing lower than they ever had to anyone before. The new order was not like the old empires. Humanity did not crown itself emperor. They did not seat themselves on thrones of gold or demand tribute. Instead, they set laws. Laws that protected the weak, laws that punished conquest, laws that ended centuries of suffering. For the first time in galactic history, smaller worlds felt safe, knowing that if an empire rose against them, the shadow of human warships would fall across the skies. But peace through fear was still fear, and not everyone celebrated. Many leaders resented Earth's dominance, whispering in dark corners that they had traded one tyranny for another. Yet none dared to act. The 1,000 ships remained, eternal guardians of Earth's will, and behind them stood a species that had hidden its power for centuries, only to unleash it at the moment of choice. Across the stars, children grew up hearing the same story. Once humanity was silent, but now humanity was the hammer that shaped the galaxy. And so the age of the new order began. It was an age of quiet skies, an age where war ended not because hearts had changed but because fear kept weapons holstered. The galaxy had no choice but to obey, because Earth had proven it could erase any enemy in an instant. Still, deep inside the silence, one question remained unspoken, haunting rulers and rebels alike. If this was what humans could do with 1,000 ships, what other secrets had they yet to reveal?